This will serve as a career update for January 2026. I'm right at the beginning of these daily vlogs, so I wanted to give you an update of where I am. However, this is not necessarily what I'm working on video in the way you think. I want to use my projects to talk about the 3 stages of development. Of course, non-disclosure agreements. I can't mention names, I can't mention producers, I can't mention what the movies are necessarily, but I will paint a picture and you'll come with me later on down the road as we talk about those movies. For shits and giggles, let's call it writing hell. Now, just so you know, I think writing is heaven, but writing and getting paid for it are 2 different things. That's where the hell comes in. Let's talk about number 1, spec. I'm currently working on a spec. As a matter of fact, I'm writing it with 3 other writers. I'm not gonna mention their names here, but first because I've had to ask permission to make sure it's okay that I do so. These writers came to me. They wanted me to direct the film. I will tell you the name of the movie right now because there's no connection to anything contract-wise that precludes me from doing that. We're doing a film called Corvus. It is a supernatural slasher movie, very similar to Freddy Krueger. We've been working on the spec. Well, they've been working on the spec for about 2 years, something like that, on and off. We've gotten to a place where I think we're all happy with it. And now, as the director and as a co-writer, I've said, okay, guys, hand it over to me. I'm going to write my my pass on it. That basically means a rewrite. Now, because I was able to give notes on the other versions of the spec, then I will most likely not make many tweaks. And I've discussed the tweaks with my partners. Hey, this is kind of what I want to do. This is what I think I should do. For me specifically, it's going to be dialogue based, dialoguing characters and all that stuff. I have so much fun with that. So my pass on our spec, Corvus, is going to be just a dialogue pass, maybe tweaking a few logic things here and there. But in terms of the overall grand scope of the story, I think we're there. We've all agreed on the outline. We've all agreed on what kind of needs to happen. I may make a few tweaks here and there. And then again, this will go to my writing partners. They will read it and they will decide, oh, I like this, I don't like this. Why did you do this? Why did you change that? And then I will go and explain why I did this, why I changed that, blah, 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 blah. There will be probably another rewrite or 2 before it's ready to show to managers or investors. The thing about a spec, which means speculation, which means something we dreamed up without somebody having hired us for it, is that nobody's waiting for it, nobody's expecting it, nobody's paying us. This is free work. We're doing it because we love to write, we have a cool idea, we want to tell the story, we want to make a movie. That is what a spec script, so when you hear spec script, that is what that means. The thing about a spec is, it's never guaranteed. 100%. Know that going in. When you write something, it's never guaranteed to be sold. It's not even guaranteed to be read. Let that sink in. You could send it. Oh, by the way, I will do a video on festivals. I'm considering, if you're curious about festivals and whether they're worth submitting to as a filmmaker and as a writer, let me know. I might do a video on that because I think there's a lot we can talk about when it comes to festivals. But I digress. The issue comes at the end, when we're done writing, where's the money? That is the toughest part about a spec. Where is the money? You can't feed your family on a spec. Back in the 80s, you could probably sell a spec for $1 million. Nowadays, spec sales are few and far between unless you've already got some traction as a screenwriter in that area and you have representation that can get you into the right doors. And I've been to the right doors, by the way. MGM, Sony, Lakeshore. I've had massive meetings, Paramount. Nothing is sold, but I've come so close. And maybe I'll talk about my near misses down the line. Incidentally, if you've been watching these or if you're new here and you haven't considered subscribing, do so you and I can hang out and chat about cinema, filmmaking, writing, all that good stuff. It's gonna be a hell of a year, hell of a journey on these vlogs, and I'd love to have you join me. Drop a thumbs up on the video. There's a lot of people forget to do that, but on YouTube that really helps quite a bit. Please do so. Let's go on to number 2. Number 2, thankfully at the beginning of the year, not even a week in, I've been hired on something, but there's a catch. And first of all, I can't talk about it. It's from a producer I've worked with before, and we have something coming out pretty soon. March is kind of what we're looking at for that other film we worked on. Usually it's a producer you've worked with before, or they know your work, they trust your work, that kind of stuff. That's what a work for hire assignment is when it comes to screenwriting. I texted this producer and I said, hey, happy new year, hope everything is well. I'm looking forward to working with you again on something. Let me know if there's anything that's available or something that's coming up. He texted back, Happy New Year, we should talk ASAP. I do have something I would love for you to jump on, and I'd also love for you to direct. Now that is a big hell yeah from me. To write and direct right off the bat, that's the bingo for me. So the project we had worked on before, I was up for directing. It was given to another director. Story for another time. But this new project, I'm gonna write and direct. Now, here are the catches and stuff that I'm telling myself and then you should be aware of. There's no contract. There's no money. There's no guarantee. Here's what I do know. This producer has a track record. This producer and I already made a movie together, a similar type movie. The idea that this producer has already has partial funding. For this to all come together, funding has to be in place, which is one of those things that, believe it or not, for certain people with certain connections, can happen immediately. That's not always the case. Not always the case. I have said in the past, the money is the hardest thing. It still is the hardest thing. Some producers with a track record can get the money and make the magic happen. So this work for hire is not as flimsy as a spec in my mind, even though I haven't gotten anything signed stating it's 100% happening. That being the case, I am about 80% sure it's going to go forward. Actually 85% sure it's going to go forward, and I'm treating it as a work for hire. So this is the second thing I've started working on, is this new idea. Now, because there's no contract, because there's no money, because there's no 100% guarantee that this is shooting this year, we want to go this year. It could be something that happens like next month. Could be something that happens over the summer. I don't know. Hopefully not in June. We're going to Japan in June. It could be something that just literally explodes before we know it. I need a script in a week. We're going. Luckily, I can do that. And that's a good skill to have, by the way. Be able to write really fast. That really, really helps. If you can do that, if you can have that skill, invaluable. The people that take 2 months to write, you won't be hired again. If you can have a first draft that reads like a 10th draft, like a really polished, ready to shoot draft, you're golden, baby. You're golden, especially nowadays. Anyway, a work for hire means a producer comes to you and says, hey, we'd like you to write this. And you either say yes or no, if you agree to the terms and all that good stuff. Luckily, I know that he pays well, and I know he's produced work in the past, so it's not so much of a blind alley kind of a thing. Now, again, 100% not materialized, and I'm aware of that, and I'm telling myself to be cautious about it, but I'm already outlining in my head and planning for that work because, first of all, I think it's gonna be fun as hell, and second of all, I trust that something will come of it. If not that project, something else down the line, but it shows the producer that I'm there, I'm willing to work, I'm willing to put the effort in, and I just wanna make some movies. I wanna make some fun-ass movies. Here's something you should know. Spec, you own 100%. That's yours, baby. Work for hire, you do not own. You do not own. When you do a work for hire, that belongs to the production company, the producer. Whoever pays you is the person who owns that work. Now, I'm gonna tell you the bad news up front when it comes to writing in general. All of these, you will get something that is going to be the bane of your existence because it goes against your creative side. It's a story for another time, but I just want you to be prepared for the fact that all of them are going to give you notes. Notes. Oh, notes. Now let's talk about number 3, which is something I'm working on as well. As a working screenwriter, you gotta always be taking meetings, having lunches. I just set up a really important lunch with a big producer that I've worked with quite a bit. I'm very happy that that's in the books. It's happening. Anywho, pitch possible ideas. This producer and I have made tons of movies together. It's a different producer from here. This is a producer that's gonna hire me 100% on something this year, possibly 2 things. We are gonna grab lunch and discuss what 2026 looks like for me with his company. I don't know what is out there. I don't necessarily know what they're actively working on, but this particular company makes about 30 movies a year, so I know there's something in it for me. There is a sort of a sequel project that we've been discussing that I don't know if it's going to be happening this year or next. That's on the table, and a couple of other things will materialize, but this is an important lunch meeting because it is where I know this job will 100% happen. Whereas the work for hire kind of project, which is sort of at 85%, there's a potentiality this may fall through. But whatever happens with this company, this meeting, this possible pitch situation, I know for me specifically, this is going to materialize in at least 1 film, maybe 2. Fingers crossed, that's my goal. Now, I'm in a different position than most people creatively and, you know, career-wise, and I get that, but I'm just giving you my take on how I've been able to wade through the waters of the industry. As a writer-director, as a writer in general, you have to be in different stages. You have to be working on multiple projects. The reason you want to do that is you want to be able to always be working, because they don't always pay, right? And now it's not always about the money, but let's be real here. You've got to support yourself. You know, your spouse is giving you the stink eye. You got to be always finding ways to work around the system. Have a spec or two ready to go, and different specs. Have action, have horror, have a drama, have a comedy. Be open to anything, because if you're an unknown commodity, then you are a blank slate. You can do anything, right? Once you make a hit somewhere, you will become pigeonholed. Getting pigeonholed is not necessarily a bad thing. We'll talk about that maybe in another episode. But have a lot of specs ready to go. If you want to lean heavily into horror, then have a lot of horror. If you want to lean heavily into action, have a lot of action. But be mindful of budget. In this day and age, you can't make a $100 million script. That's not going to sell. Oh, it sounds good. It's a nice sample. Can you write something for $200,000 or $100,000? Have different budget levels and be aware how to write to a budget. That's a big, big gift. Have low budget, have high budget, have different genres, maybe 2 from each genre if you can. I mean, if you love writing, that should be easy, right? Have a Western. Why not? Westerns aren't gonna be, I have a Western that almost got, oh my God, almost got made. Thomas Jane, Al Pacino, Jeremy Irons, Nick Nolte, all attached. And then it just fizzled. One day I'll talk about all the near misses I had. Danny Trejo, that one still hurts. That one still hurts. Work for hire. Make sure you write fast. Make sure you write clean. Make sure that if you can turn in a draft in a few days, 4 days, a week, that it's clean ass draft. Fucking check for typos, guys. Check for typos. Make sure your formatting is clean. Don't send in junk, because you're not gonna get hired again. Number 3, always have pitches ready. Look for possible situations, opportunities. The doors are always open in weird ways. If you know producers that are hiring, email them. If you know them well enough to text them, hey, it's been a while. I'm really looking forward to making some movies this year. I'd love to chat. I got some ideas I want to send your way. You have to be proactive. A lot of these producers are busy. And it's not that they don't want to hear from you. It's that they have so much on their plate and on their mind, they need to be reminded that you are there. So feel free to reach out, just like I did, actually for both 2 and 3. Those are the 3 stages of writing hell as I know them. Now, again, for me, writing is heaven. I love it. It's my favorite thing in the world. Pretty close to a cup of coffee, but not as rewarding as a nice warm cup of coffee. The person I'm looking at right now, you right there, you specifically you. If you're the person right now that you're saying, oh my God, it sounds really hard, but I love this. I can't wait. I'm thinking of people I can text right now, or maybe email, or get in contact with pitches and things like that. Oh my God, I am working on a spec. This speaks to my soul. If I'm speaking to your soul, we're kindred spirits here. We're brothers and sisters. We are on the same wavelength. Listen to me right now. You have to stick with it. This may all sound like bad news. This may all sound very negative, but the reality is a lot of people aren't going to tell you the truth. They're not going to tell you how hard it is, how demoralizing it is, how frustrating it is, how you will literally be brought to tears because your career feels like it's stuck in the fucking molasses. That happens. Stick with it because you love it, because this is the only thing you can feel in your heart. If you get that, if you get my sentiment, then you're in the right place. I hope you subscribe so we can chat again. There we go. That's sort of serves as my January 2026 update, and also my dissertation on the 3 levels of development that I've experienced. If you have any questions that you'd like me to address in a future video, I'd love to get the community going with some feedback. So let me know, oh, could you talk about like festivals? I mentioned that. Sky's the limit. Who knows? I've got 3 things cooking, and who knows where that will go. And I hope you have a lot cooking as well, my friend. I wish you the most amount of luck possible for a human being. You're gonna make it. I have a feeling. Let's get it.